Let's do it. So some staff in this range, and we can actually move on to Houston, because Houston is just us talking about who's good football players at this point. Do they move that pick? Do they not move that pick? I think if I'm them, I'm taking whoever's the slider. That is my guy. If it's Stingley, if you're Houston and you're that bad, and I know that they have some specific needs, but they have needs everywhere. Obviously, they just need to build a good football team over time. If Stingley's there, that is an excellent buy low situation.
Yeah, Kyle Alarm, another one, 20 years old. He's like still got so much in front of him. So, and obviously comes from a football family. His brother was Matt Elam, who was, I don't know why I called him Alarm when I called Matt Elam, but same guy. But the first round pick of the Ravens a few years ago, the safety. So, in terms of stock and in terms of youth, he's certainly got that on his side. I think you're absolutely nailed on when you say that some teams will have him first, and I think if you sat down with GMs for 32 different teams, they would have the top 6 corners in 6. You would not get the same order from almost everybody. I think that's how tightly ranked I think the corners are. And you'll probably get a couple of guys that we don't have in the top 6 that they've got in 8 or 10, whether that's a Tariq Woolen or, somebody's going to like a Cam Taylor-Britt, and we'll have them a bit higher than other teams, in terms of how they work specifically. And, even down, you look at the kid at Washington State, Jalen Watson, the guy that was a 2-time JUCO All-American who went to USC, was academically ineligible, went to work at Wendy's in Georgia, and, signs up to play for Wazoo, plays 4 games for Washington State in 2020, and then is a, first team Pac-12 player, defensive player for Washington State. And you think he's long, he's physical, he's inexperienced, but somebody's going to look at that and think, I can turn that into something.
It's going to be fascinating to see which teams like this move to saying we're just doing spot dropping zones. These offenses are too tough to stop. It's all condensed. And if they're motioning, we have to move our guys. Well, we want smaller guys then, so we can kind of flip the positions and be a bit more versatile in the back end. Who wants the McDuffies, the McCrearys, the guys who we know are quality off-zone players, and who is looking at Elam and going, he is the perfect match 3 Seattle corner, right?
Yep.
And we don't live in that world anymore. So it's like, who is just like, oh, but come on, man. Imagine if we could play in the match 3 Seattle world. It's still the best system overall in the NFL. It's just no one's running it anymore. So it's going to be interesting.
If this is the Byron Maxwell era, he'd be we'd be talking top 5.